Good morning, students. Recently we are dealing with the chapter 10, that is the sun, moon, earth, light and shadow. I hope you have gone through the thought portion. Today we will be going to know about the astronauts on the moon. It was on July 20th, 1969, humans stepped on the moon. It was two American astronauts who landed on the moon for the first time. They were Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin. They landed on the spacecraft named Eagle and it was a part of Apollo 11 mission. The command and module pilot for Apollo 11 mission was Michael Collins. So, it was on July 20th, 1969, humans stepped on the moon for the first time and it was two American astronauts and it was a part of Apollo 11 mission. This marks the end to our chapter 10, that is the sun, moon, earth, the light and shadow. Now we will have a quick revision on this chapter. First we learned that light travels in a straight line. It is the property of the light to travel in a straight line. And based on the ability to transmit light, we classified objects into three types. They were opaque, transparent and translucent object. The opaque object do not allow light to pass through them and they produce complete shadows. Transparent objects allow light to pass through them and they produce no shadows, while the translucent objects allow some light to pass through them and they produce faint shadows. This is how we classified objects based on their ability to transmit light. That is, we classified objects into three types. They were opaque, transparent and translucent objects. Later we learned about the phenomenon, that is eclipses, and there were two types of eclipses based on the positioning of Earth, Moon and Sun, and they were classified into two types, the solar and lunar eclipses. In a solar eclipse, the moon lies between the sun and the earth, while in a lunar eclipse, the earth lies between the sun and the moon. I hope the topics were clear to you. Now let's get into the exercise questions of this chapter. All of you please take your notebooks and textbooks. The first exercise question is to tick the correct option to complete each sentence. The first question is, a dark shadow is formed when the object is, the options are transparent, translucent and opaque. The answer is opaque. A dark shadow is formed when the object is opaque. The second question, a toy car that allows some light to pass through it is made up of, options are transparent material, option B translucent material and option C opaque material. The answer is translucent material. A toy car that allows some light to pass through it is made up of translucent material. The third question, a solar eclipse occurs when the, options are earth is between the sun and the moon is between the earth and the sun becomes black. The answer is moon is between the earth and the sun. So, a solar eclipse occurs when the moon is between the earth and the sun. Let's get into the fourth question. The question is, a lunar eclipse occurs when the, options are earth is between the sun and the moon is between the earth and the sun, moon is bright. The answer is earth is between the sun and the moon. The fifth question, light always travels in a, options are straight line, wavy line and curved line. The answer is straight line. Light always travels in a straight line. The last question, a lunar eclipse always occurs on a, options are new moonlight, option B full moonlight and crescent moonlight. The answer is full moon night. A lunar eclipse always occurs on a full moon night. Now let's get into the next set of questions, that is match the following. The options in one side are the sun, the moon, transparent objects, total solar eclipse and solar eclipse. The options in the B section are do not form shadows, the sun gets completely blocked by the moon, burns all the time, occurs on a new moon day and does not have its own light. Let's do the first question, that is the sun. The right matching answer is option C, that is burns all the time. The sun burns all the time. The second question, the moon, and the right option is does not have its own light. The moon does not have its own light. The third question, transparent objects, and the right matching option is option A, that is, do not form shadows. Transparent objects do not form shadows. The fourth question, total solar eclipse. The matching option is the sun gets completely blocked by the moon. That is option B. Total solar eclipse, the sun gets completely blocked by the moon. The last question is solar eclipse. The right matching option is option D, that is, occurs on a new moon day. Solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day. This was all about the match the following questions. Now let's get into the next set of questions, that is stating true or false. So what you have to do here is, you have to tick the right statements and cross the false ones. The first statement given is, light can travel from one place to another. The answer is true. Light can travel from one place to another. The second statement, an object which does not let light pass through, it is called a transparent object. The statement is false. The third statement, opaque objects form shadows. The answer is true. The given statement is true, that is, the opaque objects form shadows. The fourth statement, a total solar eclipse lasts for 7 hours. The answer is false. A total solar eclipse does not last for 7 hours. The last statement, a lunar eclipse can be viewed with naked eye. The answer is true. A lunar eclipse can be viewed with naked eye. Now let's do the next set of questions, that is, answer the following questions in one sentence. The first question here is, how can we prove that light travels from one place to another? The answer is, although the sun is millions of kilometers away from us, yet its light reaches the earth. This shows that light can travel from one place to another. Now the second question, how is an opaque object different from a translucent object? The answer is, an opaque object does not allow light to pass through it, whereas a translucent object allows light to pass through them partially. The answer is, an opaque object allows light to pass through them completely, while a translucent object allows light to pass through them partially. Now the third question, what is a transparent object? Give one example. The answer is, objects which allow light to pass through them completely are called transparent objects. That is, the objects which allow light to pass through them completely are called transparent objects, and the example is glass. The fourth question, when is a shadow formed? The answer is, when an opaque object comes in the path of light, light cannot travel further and the shadow is formed. This is how a shadow is formed. Only an opaque object can produce clear shadows. This marks the end to that set of questions. And now let's do the next set of questions, that is answering the following questions in 2 or 3 sentences. Here, the first question is, why do we see different phases of the moon? The answer is, as the moon revolves around the earth, on some nights we see the full bright side of the moon and the moon appears round. But on most nights, only a portion of the bright side of the moon is visible. That is why we see different phases of the moon. This is the reason why we are able to see different phases of the moon, and these phases of the moon are named as lunar phases. The next question, that is the second question. The question is, explain solar eclipse with a diagram. The answer is, sometimes on a new moon day, the sun, moon and the earth lie exactly on a straight line and the moon blocks some or most of the sunlight, and thus the sun appears covered, maybe partially or completely, and this event is known as the solar eclipse. And the diagram for solar eclipse is this one. Now let's get into the third question, that is to describe a solar eclipse. The answer is, on a full moon night, the earth blocks the sunlight falling on the moon and the moon gets covered with the earth's shadow. This phenomenon is known as the lunar eclipse. The last question, The question is, write a few sentences on the topic astronauts on the moon. The answer is, on July 20th, 1969, for the first time, two American astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, landed on the moon in the spacecraft named Eagle. This was the part of the Apollo 11 mission, and Michael Collins was the command and module pilot for Apollo 11. That was all about the fifth section of questions. Now let's get into the higher order thinking skills. There, in the first question, a picture of an eclipse is given. You have to study the picture and answer two following questions. The first question is this a picture of a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse? The answer is solar eclipse. The given picture is a picture of solar eclipse. The second question is this a picture of a total eclipse or a partial eclipse? The answer is the given picture is a picture of a partial eclipse. Now let's get into the second set of questions, that is, you are given three pictures and based on these three pictures you have to answer the following question. The first question is, in which situation can there be a lunar eclipse? The answer is option C, that is image C. The second question, in which situation can there be a solar eclipse? The answer is option B, that is image B. The third question, in which situation will it be a full moon? The answer is option C, that is image C can be a full moon. The fourth question, in which situation will it be a new moon? The answer is A and B, that is images A and B both can be a new moon. Now let's get into the value based question. The question is, Raj was very excited on learning that a solar eclipse was to occur the next day. He told his father that he would like to watch it. And two questions are given. The first question is, list two precautions that he must take while watching the solar eclipse. The answer is, a solar eclipse should not be viewed with naked eyes. Even ordinary sunglasses are not safe for watching a solar eclipse. So he must use a properly designed and manufactured solar filter. And he must avoid the use of ordinary binoculars and telescopes to view the solar eclipse. Second question, that is, some people believe that a solar eclipse has an evil impact on their lives. Do you agree? And discuss. The answer is, in earlier days, people would not see the solar eclipse because they believed that it would have an evil impact on their lives. But nowadays, people consider solar eclipses as amazing natural phenomenon and watch them with great enthusiasm. So, the belief that watching a solar eclipse will bring evil impact on our lives is a false statement. So, watching a solar eclipse does not have an evil impact on our lives. Now, let's get into the activities that is on page number 138 of your textbooks. The activity is, take a torchlight, a small ball and a big ball. Assume the torch to be sun, the small ball to be moon and the big ball to be earth. Arrange the balls as shown in the picture to have a solar eclipse. What you have to do is, how will you place the ball to understand how a lunar eclipse will take place? You have to try this activity at home, and for the lunar eclipse, you have to place earth in between moon and the sun. So, you have to place the big ball in between the small ball and the torch. That's all about the activity. Now, I will give you a project work, that is, after the Apollo 11 mission of the USA, many other astronauts have reached the moon. Find out from the internet or books about the other astronauts who landed on the moon. You have to make a PowerPoint presentation titled Human Beings on the Moon, and you can later make a booklet on the same topic and share it with your friends. This marks the end to the exercise questions of chapter 10. You have to study the taught portion and write the notes in your notebook. Hope the topic and the chapter was very clear to you. Thank you and have a nice day.